No rest for the wicked, more maths for me to do. Part B, short answer questions on the Chapter 2 Test C. Simplify the following. Negative 3 times BC multiplied by 2AB multiplied by negative ABC. You can see they've just made Test C a little bit harder. Let's start with the numbers. Negative 3 times 2, that's negative 6, multiplied by, this is like a negative 1, isn't it? So negative 6 times negative 1, that's going to give me 6. Now let's look at the letters. This one doesn't have any A's. This one's got 1. This one's got another one. So altogether there are 2 A's being multiplied together. That means it's A squared. That's how we write that, isn't it? Next up, this one's got a B. There's another B and another B. 3 B's being multiplied together. We call that B cubed. Finally, this one, first term's got a C. Last one's got a C, so there are 2 C's being multiplied together. C squared. And that's your answer, 6a squared b cubed c squared. It's not too hard. If you wanted to, you could just deal with the first half and say that's negative 6ab squared c, and then I've still got to multiply it by negative abc. You could go that way and then get to your answer. Negative 6 by negative 1 is positive 6. A times a is a squared. B squared times another b is b cubed. And c times c is c squared. But I don't know if that's easier or harder. You can decide for yourself what's best. Next one here, algebraic fractions. Remember, cancel common factors if you can. Let's have a look. 2 goes into 2 one time, and into that 8 down the bottom 4 times. Doing that's been helpful, hasn't it? Because what else can you see up the top in terms of the numbers? There's a 4 in the numerator and in the denominator. They can cancel. So I've got 1 times 1 over 1 times 12. Oh, I know my denominator is going to have a 12 in it. Let's start with the A's now. You just go numbers first, then go letter by letter until you've used all the letters. Here I've got an A on the top. That can cancel with the A on the bottom. A divided by A is 1. In the second fraction, I've got an A on the top and another A on the bottom. They can cancel. So in actual fact, all my A's have cancelled. I won't have any left. Finally, the B's. I've got 2 on top and 1 on the bottom. So one of those B's can cancel with that one. Here I've got 3 more. I've got no more to cancel with. So I've got 1 B in the first one, 3 more in the second one. So that's 4 B's altogether. So my numerator is going to be B to the power of 4. And the denominator, 1 times 12. That's it. B to the power of 4 over 12. Alright, I've got to pause there. I'll be back to finish soon. Alright, I'm back. Let's keep going with these ones here. So, the next question, simplify the following. We need to collect like terms. So let's make sure we get our like terms identified. This one has an A and a B. Is there anything else with just A and B? There's another term with just A and B, so that's going to pair up with that one. What was our next term? It's A squared B. So it's got 2 A's being multiplied together and a B. There's another one with 2 A's and a B. A squared B is the pronumeral form. Remember, that's our Year 9 golden rule of algebra, isn't it? In any algebraic expression, you can only add or subtract expressions with the same pronumeral form, or like terms. That's the other word we use for it. You can see B and B, they're going to be the same. So, we've identified our like terms. Let's deal with the yellow ones first. So I've got 14 ABs. I subtract 1. Remember, BA and AB are the same, so 14 minus 1 is 13. And it's nice if we write it in alphabetical order, so we'll do that. 13AB. Negative 7 A squared B minus, plus 2 A squared B. So negative 7 plus 2 is now just negative 5 A squared B. And finally, plus 2B minus 2b. Oh, 2b minus 2b is nothing. So we're done. Didn't have to do any more for that. That's not so bad. Alright, lucky last one here. They've tried to make it difficult, giving us division written sideways. Before we can actually simplify this, though, we need to remember, what can we simplify? Common factors. So we need to factorise this. Now, we haven't done a lot of factorising. This is just trying to get you to remember some things from last year. Let's have a look. What number goes into 6 and 24? 6. And this has got 2 A's and that's got 1. So I could make 6A as the common factor. What's remaining? Well, there's 1A left in the first term. And in the second term of that numerator, 6 goes into 24 4 times. But the A's already gone out the front. So that's what we would have there. In the denominator, so under the division sign, remember we put it down in the denominator after the division sign, 4 goes into both 4 and 16, so 4 is a common factor. There are no matching letters, so the first term still has a left in it, and the 16, well, if a factor of 4 has gone out the front, there's another factor of 4 left over. Now, this is where I would expect you to be able to cancel. So the first bit, maybe the factorising, we haven't really been practicing that. So if you didn't keep up till there, that's okay. Let's see if we can follow this last step. I've got to cancel common factors. First thing you notice is the brackets are the same. If something's the same in the numerator and the denominator, as long as they're being multiplied, as long as they are factors, we can cancel them. So I've done that. Now we just check our numbers. 6 on the top, 4 on the bottom. They're both even, aren't they? What number goes into all even numbers? The number 2. So this 4, 2 goes into it twice. The number 6, 2 goes into that 3 times. So what have I got left in the numerator? 3 times a. Okay. So it's going to be 3a. And in the denominator, just the number 2 is all that's left. So that's my answer. 3a divided by 2. Alright, expand, simplifying when possible. Question 2. Remember, don't fall into subtraction here. We know we've got to multiply first. So I'm going to multiply negative 3 by x and negative 3 by 3. So this is going to be the same as I leave the 12 alone. 12. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 by positive 3 is negative 9. Now I'm working across the page here only because that's all the room they've given me. You would work down the page in your exam. What do I do now? Well, the x's don't have anything to join up with, so I leave this as negative 3x. And then 12 minus 9, well, that's just 3. So there's my answer, negative 3x plus 3. If you wrote 3 minus 3x, that's the same thing. But usually we put our x terms in front. But I'm happy with either one there. Here again, distributive law, expand my brackets. 3x times 10, number times number. 3 tens are 30, and there was an x that was in that term. Now I go 3x by negative 4x. Number by number, 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, and an x multiplied by another x, well, that's 2 x's being multiplied together, so we call that x squared. Part C, 19xy minus 4x multiplied by 2x plus y. Again, this is a case where I've got a coefficient in front of the bracket or a number in front of the bracket. I've got to expand that bracket. So I'm just going to leave that 19xy alone out the front. I'm not going to get rid of it. It's going to stay there. But let's expand this bracket. Negative 4x by 2x. So a negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 2 is 8. And x times x is x squared. Finally, negative 4x. So we've done that one. Negative 4x times positive y. Negative 4xy. Can I simplify any further? I know you've already seen it, most of you, haven't you? What have I got here? This is 19xy. This is negative 4xy. What does that mean? I've got like terms. I can combine them. 19xy minus 4xy. 19 minus 4 is 15xy. And then negative 8x squared. Didn't have anything to join up with, so it stays there on its own. I can't add or subtract here because they are not like terms. Last one, 3 brackets to expand. Let's just expand them all. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 1, negative 5. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. And the last bracket to expand, negative 3 by 4 is negative 12. Negative 3 by negative 3x, and negative times a negative is a positive. 9x. Let's group our x's together. 5x minus 3x. Now I'm down to 2x plus 9x. That's 11x. What about our numbers? Negative 5 plus 12. And then I'm going to subtract 12 again. So plus 12 and subtract 12 are going to cancel out. So it's just 11x minus 5. Alright, onto these equations. How do I get x on its own? I undo whatever's happening to it. What's got the least amount to do with it? The 9 or the negative 8? You got it, the 9, doesn't it? So let's get rid of the 9. That's a positive 9, so I subtract 9 from each side. show my working, keep track of what I'm doing. On the left hand side I now have negative 8x, and on the right hand side 28 minus 9 is 19. Last step, what's the opposite of multiplying by negative 8? It's dividing by negative 8. So I divide each side by negative 8. Therefore, x is equal to negative 19 over 8. You don't need to go ahead and change that fraction into a mixed number or anything else. I just forgot to put the negative there. Whoopsie. Try that again. Oh, doesn't like it. There we go, got it. Was I saying you don't need to try and change it into a mixed number? That's good enough. Leave it like that. We're happy with that. On to our next equation. 2x divided by 7 minus 4 equals negative 8. Whew. The 4's got the least amount to do with the x term. It's not even joined up to it. So let's get rid of that first. The opposite of subtracting 4 is to add 4. That's a good first step. Excuse me, bit of a hiccup there. 2x over 7 equals negative 8 plus 4, negative 4. Now remember, you can multiply by the reciprocal here. I think today I'll just do it in one step because I know some of you just prefer that rather than multiplying by 7 over 2. Let's just get rid of the denominator, play it safe. Opposite of dividing by 7 is to multiply by 7. So now I've just got 2x left on this side, and negative 4 by 7 is negative 28. Last step now. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. Therefore, x equals negative 28 divided by 2 is negative 14. On to part C. 2 outside of 4x minus 3 to all divided by 5 equals 8.4. This is testing you out a little bit, but let's just multiply by 5. Let's get rid of that denominator. We're better without fractions, so let's try and eliminate them where it's pretty convenient to do so. On the left-hand side now, multiplying by 5 and dividing by 5 cancel each other out. So I've just got this little term at the top. 2 times 4x is 8x, expanding the bracket, and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 5 times 8.4. Well, 5 times 0.4 would be 2, and 5 times 8 is 40, so that must be 42. Well, what looks pretty tough has become pretty easy. To get x on its own, I want to do the opposite of subtracting 6, so I add 6 to each side, and I have 8x equals 48. Last step, what do? The opposite of multiplying by 8, the inverse operation, is to divide by 8. So we go ahead, we divide by 8, and therefore what is x equal to? X equals 48 divided by 8 is 6. If we substitute it way back in the start and check it, we should get the right answer. 24 minus 3, 21 times 2, 42 divided by 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. 2 divided by 5, 2/5. That's 0.4, isn't it? So we know we got it right. Lucky last, they put big numbers there, but it's actually pretty easy, this one. On the left-hand side, I have 212x minus 90. On the right-hand side, 112x plus 10. Let's get rid of the 112x. It's a smaller number. So we get rid of that. If I'm getting all my x's on the left, I'm going to get rid of the number. So the opposite of subtracting 90 is to add 90. Add 90 to each side. What have I got now? 100x equals, oh look, and 10 plus 90 is 100. Well, that's easy. You can even see dividing each side by 100, you're going to get x equals 1. There you go. Back in the next video soon. Cheers.